Hi, I'm Sarah from Lavender Buttons Design, and I'm going to start doing quarantine craft videos for you all. Follow along with me, ask questions, and we'll hopefully get through all of this together. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to make paper flowers. So we're going to start with this style, which is sort of like a paper daisy kind of thing. It's got lots of petals, as you can see, and it's super easy to do. So some of you may or may not know that for my wedding, I actually made flowers out of felt for my bouquet, which was a really great, I think it just turned out wonderful, and it made this awesome keepsake that I can have forever because fake flowers don't die. So something you can do, you can use felt for this. I'm going to show you with paper today, because if you're more people have paper accessible to them at this time. But you can also make, kind of like a wreath type shape with it, a bouquet, get creative. You could put them on a memory box, whatever. So to start out, what you're going to need is some cardstock. If you have it lying around, if you only have computer paper, that totally works too. Magazines would be really cool. I don't have any, but I'm sure some of you do. You'll also need scissors and some form of quick drying glue. So I'm going to use hot glue. I think you could also get away with using like a glue stick, something like that. If you happen to have anything that would work really well as a stem, you could use, maybe a straw or a pipe cleaner, or if I have some of these fabric wire things, also a great option. Just use what you have. So to start out and make a paper flower like this, you can see it's 3 colors. You can use as many or as few colors as you want because it's kind of the same process and it builds on top of itself. So we're going to start with our center color. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to need to do is you make, cut rectangles of paper. So this one's about 1 inch high, maybe by 4 or 5 inches wide, and we're going to cut it into little fringes like this. And you want to make sure that you leave enough space at the top here that it doesn't fall apart on you. Okay, so let's cut our fringe like so. And you want to do that all the way across. And you want to kind of try and keep them pretty consistent. You want to be careful. See here, I got pretty close to the edge. You don't want it to fall apart on you. So just be cautious. Alright, so keep cutting until you get all the way across that rectangle, like so. So now we've got this fun paper fringe, and then the next step, the easiest thing to do is take a pen or a pencil. I'm going to use a pen because that's what I have, and sort of curl this fringe around that object. And what this will do is it'll kind of give the paper like a little bit of muscle memory, so that way it's gonna understand that it needs to retain this spiraled shape. If you happen to be the kind of person who owns a paper quilling tool, I'm sure that would be a really excellent resource for this too. So now that we have kind of this spiral, I'm gonna let it go, and you'll see that it's pretty much maintained that. I'm actually gonna unwind it back to the start because I'm gonna want my spiral on this to be tighter. So you're gonna take your glue and you're gonna take your paper and you're gonna put a little bead right at the beginning, just like that. And then you're gonna wanna fold it in on itself to get your start. You kind of see that there. It doesn't have to be super tight, but you want it to be fairly close together. So then what you're gonna do is continue spinning it along. And then because paper can be a little bit slippery, with felt you don't really end up with that same issue. I'm gonna just do little bits of glue as I work my way through this spiral. Kind of see where I'm at here. And then continue spiraling along until you get to your tail end here. And what you're gonna do next is you're gonna take more glue and just do a little bead right there at the end. so that you can finalize this bit. Okay, be careful not to burn yourself on the glue. So the next step, what you're going to want to do is get another strip of paper that's just a little bit taller than this one is. So I have one, well actually I have a bunch here. So like this is a good size. It might even be too tall. You just want it to be slightly taller than what you have here. So if this is about an inch, maybe you do 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So I actually already have one that I fringed before here, and I didn't finish it, so let me do that now. But you guys get the idea. It's the exact same thing. You want to make sure that your, a little hard to see, your clearance here at the top is just a little bit more or the same as what you have on the other one. Okay. Just keep on fringing until you get to the end. And before I go on to layer 2, I should say that something, if you all are using any kind of item as a stem, then what you would have done in that last step here, instead of rolling it onto itself, you're going to roll it onto your stem item. So, for example, I'm just going to put glue on the tip of that stem. And I happen to have this little piece of fringe cut earlier from when I was experimenting, so I'm going to use that. And you're going to, you know, adhere that together, curl it onto itself again, same kind of process, it's just you're using something else to wrap it around. And you're going to want to spiral that until you run out. And same deal, if you want to put glue as you go throughout to kind of tack it in place, do it. You know, it's your project, so keep on spinning that up until you get to the very end. Okay, and then you're going to want to put another bead of glue on that flap there so you can tuck it in all together, just like so. So, without a stem, with a stem, it looks basically the same. So now, you guys, we're going to want to take our next layer. I've got glue all over my fingers. And we're going to want to glue that on. So, to be honest with you, I think I made this layer too tall, but I'll show you what to do about that at the end of this. So it starts the same way. We're going to want to do a dab of glue, just like so. We're going to want to take our tiny fringe and set it on top of that. And then we're going to want to start the same process where we spiral layer number 2 around layer number 1. And we're just going to keep on doing that. I'm going to do a little bit of glue throughout to help me keep it secure. And then we're going to wrap until we get to the very end. All right, and just so you all know, the longer your strips of paper are, the more voluminous your flower will look at the end. Okay, so to give you a little preview, this is kind of what it looks like in the center. This is what it looks like at the other end. This is our flower so far. And I'll show you again on the stem version. So I've got this piece pre-cut. You know, same deal. Remember with layer 2, you want to make sure that your base here between the strip pieces is roughly the same or a little bit bigger than what you did on the first bit. So I am going to start again with a dab of glue. So just do a little bit on your flower like that. Then you're going to take level 2. I like to make them different colors. You totally don't have to. It would look great either way. And then we're going to rotate that around just like so. You want to be a little gentle with the paper because it can tear pretty easily. But I'm going to do the same thing where I do kind of a tacking bead of glue throughout to hold that in place. Okay. Do another bead of glue. Oh, my glue stick fell out. Here we go. And then, you know, just keep spiraling until you get to the end of that strip. And you might be worried that the strips of paper you cut aren't perfectly straight. It really doesn't matter in the long run, so don't stress about that. You know, just focus on making sure that your petals are a consistent size. And something I'm noticing with my paper one here on the stem, because my stem is very thin, is that it's a little bit wiggly. So what I would recommend if that happens to you is just, you know, flip it upside down, take your glue gun, and do a little dab of glue sort of around the base here. I hope y'all can see that. That'll just kind of solidify and hold it in place a little bit better. So we've got 2 levels on our flower. You'll see from the example one that I have 3, so I'm going to show you all one more. So I have this piece of fringe that I cut earlier, and you'll see it's the same height as the one I did before, which I'd actually rather it be a little bit longer. So because I was telling you all that I think that I made this orange level a little too long, and I've got tons of space before that one in between there, I'm gonna just take it and trim it down. Don't be scared. It's okay. So then we're gonna take our outermost layer here, and we're gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna start with a bead of glue on our base. Okay, so just like so, we're gonna take our new 3rd level strip, we're gonna secure it on there, and we're going to gently wrap it around. Just like so. I'm going to do a little bead to secure it here, just tack it in place. And then a final bead to secure that down. Just like that. So, you can see the 3 different levels in there. Now, what we'll do with that is we're going to start to bend these back. So, you know, start with your outer layer, kind of push it down to whatever level you like. You know, you don't have to do it all the way. Just like this. Then we've got that 2nd layer. Remember we did the orange in the middle? And so you could, you know, choose to just do these little end bits like this, which will give us kind of more of a daffodil-y look here. So, just like that. Or you can choose to push them down a little further and reveal that center bit, which you can also push those down and spread it out. Give it a little bit more shape. Just like that. Okay, so you can leave it like this if you like, or if you think that any layer is too long, you know, take your scissors, go through and snip it up. It's like I'm gonna take my yellow layer and make it just a little bit longer than my orange layer here. Just like that. So now we have completed a paper flower. And I'll show you all what that looks like on the stem. So the stem, I'm just gonna do the 2 layers, but you can do as many as you want. You know, it could be a 10-layer flower, it would be huge. Just make sure that you make that external layer just a little bit bigger than the one before it, and it'll look amazing. So on this one, you know, same thing. We're just gonna kind of make the flower blossom. Spread it out. And then you can choose if you want to spread out the center or not. I actually really like how this looks without that center bit spread. So I'm only gonna do it just a little bit. Just like that. And now we have made paper flowers. So if you all have any questions, if you want to see any other kind of craft tutorials, send me a message and I'll figure out what I can do to make that happen with the, the resources that we have available to us right now, being in quarantine. And yeah, I'm Sarah. Follow me on Instagram at Lavender Buttons Design, and I will see you later. Thanks. Oh, and send me pictures of the flowers that you made. I would love to see them.